So, we got Adam Sandler doing some serious stuff in the movie Spaceman. Is this worth a watch? The critics are a little bit standoffish with it at about 50%, and the audience leaning into it a bit more at 65% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think this movie is part of the new way forward. In the old woke Disney dominated era, the idea was to create no risk, high recognition intellectual property and then have a committee try to figure out how to fit in every single demographic, real and imagined. Then apply a DEI scorecard and contort the script to make a movie that will sell tickets in Seattle and Beijing, trying to make everyone happy, but making no one happy. This movie is not doing that. They took a book that I believe is only moderately well known. I don't think it's a big selling book. I could be wrong on it. But they seem to have adapted it as best as they could. Instead of trying to send us a message or trying to market to particular demographics, they just told us a story and said, hope you like it. Now, if you have attention deficit disorder and need loud noises and bright flashes of light every 10 seconds to keep you engaged, this isn't your movie. If you like a relatable story dropped into a sci fi background, then this might be for you. The director is Johan Rennick. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He also directed the miniseries Chernobyl. Now, if you've not seen Chernobyl, put it at the top of your must see list. This movie isn't the same scope or intensity of Chernobyl, but I think the director has a good sense of how to make a movie from good source material. Now I'm going to get into kind of a broad overview, but should be no real spoilers here at all. Now, the general story is that a strange stellar phenomenon has appeared and popped up in the middle of the solar system around Jupiter. Nations of the Earth rushed out to get ships to go out and study it, and our main character is a Czech astronaut sent by the European Space Agency on a solo mission to get a jump on the competition. He's been out for 6 months and now is close to target. He's a bit frayed by the distance and isolation, and we discover at the same time his marriage is unraveling. His ship is developing annoying low level malfunctions. I recently saw Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems and concluded that this man can actually really act. His comedies are definitely hit and miss as far as I'm concerned, and this movie shows solid acting strength. Now, we know how manic Sandler can be when he plays a role. This character is very guarded and subdued. He seeks the solitude of an astronaut's life due to events in his past that he really hasn't reconciled. This tendency to run off to solitude takes a toll on his wife. And there's a kind of an interesting point in the movie where the head of the mission for the ESA is talking to the wife and said, the qualities he has that makes him good for missions like this are the same ones that make it difficult for him to connect with you. His wife is played by Carrie Mulligan, and I don't actually recall seeing her in anything else, but she's solid in this role. Initially, you may not like her because her character is picking the worst moment ever to bring the relationship problems to a climax. However, as the story progresses, you realize that her motivations actually make sense, and there's a long history here. She actually has great range. In flashbacks, she's this free spirited bohemian, in kind of a literal sense. And in the present, she's trying to make a melancholy decision based on a lifetime of issues. Now, technical wise, this plays out in what would be very near future. This mission could easily be launched by the United States with a year of high stress development. The ESA could probably do the same in 3 to 5 years. The spaceship is slightly less claustrophobic than all the Apollo modules tied together, but it's still not much space at all. There's no real future tech to speak of. The movie depicts the world now, just with different motivations. The supporting roles are all really well played, and I'll make note of the actor who played Raj from Big Bang Theory. He's in this, and he plays a mission support tech who has the job of not only keeping the equipment going, but keeping the astronaut from unraveling. And he does great here. The story includes many flashback sequences that fill us in onto why Sandler's character is the way he is. And we see the almost magical early romance phase of his wife and him. And then we see why they are there where they're at now. These flashbacks are fed to us in almost like therapy session style. The reveals are logical and they all feel earned. It never feels like the audience is being withheld information to drag out the plot. A problem in a lot of modern movies, in my opinion. Once the normal things play out, Adam Sandler's character begins to see things that should not be there. Is what we are seeing real? Or has he lost his mind? And this is the part of the movie where the most tension and drama comes from. It's what helps drive the plot forward. It's what makes it worth the diversions to the flashbacks. The weakest element of this movie is probably the pacing. Now, if you walk in expecting an action adventure, this movie will probably kill you. If you're ready for a story to unfold at a slower pace than a lot of modern movies, it does still seem to bog down at points, but it doesn't do it for long stretches. Another area that is a little weak is the reveal on the phenomena itself. There are hints that it has properties that are far from mundane. These are only slightly delivered on. However, depending on an unresolved portion of the movie, it may actually fit in terms of what we're told and the characteristics it actually displays. This movie was adapted from a Czech novel. Uh, there are a couple spots where cultural references don't make sense to me. However, they're very fleeting and are not critical to following the story. The movie itself is an exploration of life where potentials aren't being fulfilled, and that gives the movie a feel of regret. However, it does end on a hopeful note. Now I'm going to get into spoilers. If you don't want anything spoiled, stop watching me and go watch the movie. And you probably already know what's happening here because they spoil movies far more than I can stand to watch. Like my family, when we're watching the end of a show and they start with and in next week's episode, we literally cover ears, look away, and start making noises to prevent from knowing what's going on. So we like being surprised, and I'm probably way on the other side of that for most people. So here I go. Spoilers coming. Five, four, three, two, one. So once the plot line is laid down, a dog-sized intelligent alien that looks like a creepy spider shows up in the ship. It's not depicted in a horrific way, and he eventually grows on you. Is he real, or is he part of the astronauts' developing madness? Hmm, that's hard to say. I have my own thoughts on that. Once they accept each other, the alien explains that he was drawn there due to the spaceman's loneliness. And the alien alternately forces the spaceman to recollect memories as well as acting as the fish out of water therapist. Okay, so in the comments below, if you spoil, please warn for spoilers. I appreciate that, and I'm sure anybody looking at the comments will. So if you've seen this movie, tell me what you thought of it. Do you think the alien was real? Tell us why or why not. What did you think of the reveal of the space cloud? And now I have another question about pacing. Was this movie's pacing off, or is Hollywood's infatuation with more, faster, louder, and now wrecked our ability to appreciate slower paced movies? I'd be interested in your thoughts on that as well. All right. Well, please smash the like button. If the YouTube algorithm has brought you here and you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing. Look at my other titles. I get into everything from culture to politics to history to current events. Surely you'll find something of interest. And if you know someone who might find this video interesting, share it with them. Well, thank you for spending time with me this evening. Hope to see you again in a future video.